So we're going to roll through some new developments. Now this is I'm tying this all together, so stick with me here. So this is the labeled the new George Soros. This is Neville Roy Singham and his wife Jody Evans. All right, so this dude here is one of the I guess he's stepping up to take on the well, I mean, I'm pretty sure they all kind of work together. But long story short, this is guy's funding a lot of nefarious stuff. He basically has taken the control of propaganda, producing uh, like Chinese style propaganda and spreading it out not only in the United States but amongst the world. Okay, and as you can see, if you look at, there's a lot of mirror images in other countries where you're looking at mass illegal migration. You're looking at lots of riots that are popping off everywhere, and just basically, there's a lot of things that seem to are the same but different, and it kind of makes you wonder, well, how do you get there? You got to have one source of information being spread out in a way that engineers society. This guy is behind 90% of that Neville dude. Okay, he says he's funneled at least $20.4 million to a firm that is now organizing free Palestine protests we see across the globe. And, gosh, I wonder just, how much of it's going to that Greta Thunberg that just gotten all that. They took her, they said selfie yacht. You're like, yep, not taking your selfie yacht out. I want to show you some other stuff that kind of goes along with that. So let's see here. Give me 1 second here. Mark Green. Mark Green has abruptly retired. Oh, okay, yeah. Pickup truck delivers bionic face shields, and this was popping off during the rallies. Now hold on. Now you saw that article. We're getting ready to dig into about the face shields being lots of tactical gear being brought to the front lines of these riots for the rioters, by the way, not for the people that are trying to quell this criminal activity that's going on. These are these two right here are the co-founders of a radical foundation called Indivisible, and I've mentioned that group a couple of times. Not enough, because it's hard for me to wrap my head around what I see going on sometimes, because I'm like, man, this is just doesn't stop. Every time you think you've got somebody kind of rounded up, you've got a whole new group stepping up. Now, when I think about this, we've been on the Soros train for a long time, and that's been a long go, because there's, under the guise of anti-Semitism, you're not allowed to say anything about George Soros, even though, technically he himself hasn't personally done anything. His money being sent out to strategic organizations, basically the Open Society Foundation, which is a cutaway of his money that funds a lot of really bad things, or things that turn out to be bad, like NCLU, the Southern Poverty Law Center, lots of different groups that are involved in just inverting law and destroying societies. Well, this group called Indivisible. Now, this is sort of the new up and comers here, and they claim they're not a political group at all. But a man that wears socks like that right there ought to be hung out to dry. He needs to be deported right now. Those socks, be deported. Yep. Now, as you can see, he's sitting in a rather beta position, and I would question that womanality right there. It says resist, run, win. Resist and persist. You see little signs behind him there. Anyhow, you can see who wears the dress in the family. These are the co-founders of Indivisible, and Indivisible is just like a grassroots group that funds small, right at the moment, small that I know of, small little protests and resistance. And in my town, in my little small town, all of a sudden, next thing you know, there was these ads popping up on Facebook for people to get involved in Indivisible, and it gave you guidelines of how you're supposed to protest, so that it's a legal protest so far as you'll get paid. You'll get paid, and that money will come from U.S. aid type stuff, like where your money will, like you get paid up to $200 a day, compensation for your time to but you're not allowed to actually support a candidate. You have to just be. You can technically, if you'll notice, they won't have. They're technically not supposed to support a candidate, but it's okay to not support a candidate. The way that it works is they can hold anti-Trump signs up, but they can't say vote for so and so, because as soon as you do that, now you're operating as a campaign something something. So I'm just trying to wrap my head around how this all works, but these like boomers and all these people you see that are coming, and if you're watching my videos, you've probably experienced this, where all of a sudden you're in your little small town. You would know about 90% of the people. If you don't, at least you know who, you see people. So you see normal people, like people you're used to seeing through the day, and all of a sudden you see all these groups of people that pop up you've never seen before. And you can tell because they don't even act like the people from your neighborhood. I don't mean white or black. I'm just talking about, if you have an outsider, it's pretty easy to spot just the way that the difference in how they carry themselves. And my wife works in the public, and she even mentioned to me, she said, "I've seen something strange today." She said, "I've seen people I've never seen before, and they just acted so weird." I'm like, "Honey, those people aren't from here." And those were the ones that were in my little small town, holding up anti-Trump signs and stopping traffic and causing a boomer ruckus, where they weren't looting or destroying property, but they were just standing in the middle of the road and do really weird things. And it's funny because they have a time frame. They're on the clock, and so at a certain time they all load up and they get in their bus and they leave. They come through your town, but what's and I'll probably talk about this too much already, but I just can't not talk about it. You'll notice that there's a strategic amount of news people there. Okay, you'll have your local news company. This is how your news people are part of this propaganda. People go, "I don't watch CNN or Fox News. I watch my local news," and that way I'm like, dude, your local news is getting you just as bad, because they know what they're doing. They know good and well these are all groups of people from some sort of organization that are paid protesters that will come to your town. They're called ahead of time. They're scheduled. They're like Dolores. Yes, you're going to be in this county at such and such time. So go ahead and put that on your schedule for next week, because next week the Indivisible group is going to be in there rioting. It'll come to that, protesting. And then they write in their little reporting schedule, and then at that certain time, these news people need to know exactly when to show up, get the optics of them anti-Trumpy. Look at this small town. I thought Trump was a man of the people. Look at this small town. They don't even like him in this little country town. They don't like him at all. And it's not even it's not the case. Totally not the case. These people aren't even from where you're at, but it gives them the necessary optics to try to move forward with their agenda and trying to coach people and to be in a certain way. Engineered society. Indivisible is a group for that. And that is and being at such a small group, it's kind of dangerous because nobody knows about it. Just like that Neville Singham dude. Now everybody does. They're trending he's trending really hard on Twitter right now and other social medias, because it didn't take long to get this guy out in the open and what he's into. So anyways, I thank you guys for sticking around through my little rant about that and that dude's stupid socks. What an idiot. Gosh. Little button cap penis. Anyways, U.S. Health Secretary RFK Jr. fires entire CDC vaccine advisory panel in a stunning clean sweep. I call this a win. I'm just saying, you got the mainstream media gonna be like, "Oh no, there's nobody there at the CDC." I'm like, good. Just like whenever they were saying this, Trump hires 22-year-old dude who worked at a restaurant or something to run the terrorist thing. It's pretty important job, and I'm like, good. Because the people that were there before were worse than people just not even being there. Like, you could take the people out. You could take the current people that are working in these things and take them out. And it's nowhere near as dangerous. It's like, that's a funny concept if you think about that. Because there's nobody here. And all of a sudden, everything it's not as bad. I don't know. Yeah. So, U.S. Secretary Robert F. Kennedy has abruptly dismissed all 17 members of the Centers of Disease Control Prevention Advisory Committee and Immunization Practices, the ACIP, the federal body that shapes American vaccine policy. Well, I wonder why he did that. I think that it's a pretty open and shut case if you actually kind of know, if you know. But in a blistering op-ed published Monday, RFK Jr. decided the panel plagued with the persistent conflicts of interest and branded the current members of the shadowy cabal heavily influenced by pharmaceutical money. He demanded a clean sweep and a need to be reestablished public confidence in vaccine science. That's a good thing. Now it's just the unfortunate debacle that you're going to run into is these people could be, you're going to be good for a little while, but, money creeps its way back in, and it could very well have an effect on those current people at some point, which means that, with the right leadership and the people in the right places, this can be mitigated. But, hopefully in between that time frame, people can be educated to make better decisions so they're not so accepting. That's 90% of what happened in 2020 when they rolled out their new policy for 6 feet and stay indoors and shut down businesses. Better take this sauce. There was a lot of people who just had it been so long, they had been just so conditioned into trusting in what was going on that, it was just second nature to go along with it. And fortunately, for what I can tell, considering how long they've been running that narrative and how quickly it's turned around, that's not bad. Consider 50 years of boom, boom, boom. And then, a matter of 2 or 3 years, 4 years of like, and people have so that's a good sign. It's a good sign. You still got your hardcore into car face mask wearing people. You'll never change those. Matter of fact, they're going to fight this whole thing. They're going to advocate for those people to be back in their positions, and judges are going to be like, But, for the most part, the general public is not accepting it at the moment. So that's a good thing. What is this here? Okay, pickup truck delivers bionic face shields and other supplies to the LA rioters. Just before 5 p.m., PDT, whatever that, Monday, that's 5 o'clock over there in California, which is like, I think it's 8 or 9 o'clock here. Anyways, Monday in the downtown Los Angeles, a black pickup truck pulled up to a crowd of pro-illegal immigration protesters loaded with supplies for their evening's riot. Just out of nowhere, guys. Went to Target, got some stuff on my debit card. Just a random dude, Video by Fox News shows the open end bed of the pickup was packed with boxes. Chief among them, Uvex bionic face shields that were distributed to the protesters. The shields retail for around $60 a piece. So, you do the math on that, man. And in those boxes, there was probably drugs. There, get you a little bit of this Hitler meth. Take you a little bit of that. That'll keep you up all night long. You'll be ready to roll. People get tired. If you didn't even think about that. Like these are the same riders you see all day long in the hot sun, into the middle of the night, all night long, into the next day. They're the same way. They haven't been home. They haven't been to sleep. They haven't went anywhere to go eat. Like, think about that. Okay? Nobody's even mentioning the fact that, you can actually look, if you watch enough of this footage, you'll see the same person from the daytime, like midday into the mid-evening, to the evening, to the night, into the next day. Same people. Nobody's ate anything. Nobody's slept, but they're wide damn open. So you tell me what else is fueling these ICE protesters. Hitler learned a long time ago. He's like, just feed them a little bit of this zimmy-jam. And next thing you know, they're up in the ceiling with Ringo Starr, like, hey, get out from there. To be honest with you, that makes a lot, because most people at some point have rational thought. But when you see the cops coming after people and these people doing what they're doing, it's a dead giveaway. Look, got my face mask on. Well, you can't know. Oh, they did find out who this one dude was, by the way. The one guy that was throwing rocks and stuff. Oh, there it is. Boop. Who is that? The man just dropped off 4 boxes of UX bionic face shields, industrial grade, dropped off lots of boxes and distributed masks. Who is that guy? We need to make him famous. But that is, yeah. So let me see. Can I find this real quick, guys? I hope I can. I want to try to be fast. They found the dude who was doing that. Probably not gonna be able to find it in the Ville. I'll find it in a minute. Let's see. Okay, we'll get to that in a second here. Give me a second. I'm just trying to do this all in one cut. But they found the dude. And I was like, what the heck is this guy doing? He was throwing a bunch of. Oh, there we go, right here. This dude. They found him. FBI identifies ICE rioter who threw rocks at police. His name is Elpidio Reyna. What a stupid name. You're a stupid name. Could you imagine having to grow up with that stupid name? Gosh. No wonder he's throwing rocks at police cars. He's just angry in general because he got picked on by his homeboys. El Padillo, come over here and suck my toes. Shut up, Vato. Reyna. That sounds like a WWF wrestler chick name. Yeah, anyway, so that guy was throwing rocks at the police. I got flies flying around me. Probably, let's see here. Yeah, you can kind of get an idea. He's like, boom. He's just picking up big old rocks and just chucking them at the car. Right here. That's what we're working with here. Those peaceful riots. Now, here's your dude that's a douchebag. This Mark Green guy. He just retired out of Congress. Representative Mark Green. He abruptly renounced his retirement from Congress before end of term, leaving Republicans with razor-thin majority. And he's like, he said something about like how, it was hard for him to do. He's like, I come with bad feelings. Green said in Congress, and with a heavy heart, I announced my retirement from Congress recently, and I was offered an opportunity in the private sector that was too exciting to pass up. As a result, today I notified the Speaker of the House and representatives that I will resign from Congress as soon as the House votes once again to reconcile the sessions package. Make sure he votes in that AI. That's the thing. I'm like, yeah, I know it was immigration and stuff, and that's what they're using to sell this bill now. But like, boy, I'm gonna tell you what, they got some medical tyranny AI for that ass. Where is that? Let me show you who this dude is. Representative Mark Green. All right, check him out here. Let's get on some of this. Paste. Here we go. Representative Mark Green. Douchebag award. Now, the reason why I say douchebag award is because let me tell you what. I learned this a long time ago. What they'll do is when they want you to get out of the way, they'll pay you to get out of the way. Remember Carrie Lake saying that there was a lot of people who were trying to get her not to run for governor, and they was going to pay her exuberant amounts of money and give her a really cushy job where she could continue to make a buttload of money. Yeah, and so this opportunity was just too exciting. It's an exciting opportunity. She couldn't pass you to it. Let me explain something to you. Saving this country is way more exciting than doing whatever kind of diddling you're fixing to get into. I hope you find yourself another P. Diddy party. But it's obvious what they're trying to do here. They're trying to destroy the little bit of a majority we have, even though we don't really have a majority because 90% of those damn Republicans are rhino, weak, spineless turds anyway. So why would they even... But they can't have the numbers. They got to have they want their numbers because they want to impeach Trump. They want to go for that. They want to whittle down those numbers. And he says, I'm sure I'm glad I got to. He was, he was in the military and all this, Afghanistan and all that. And that doesn't mean anything. You got that Mark Kelly guy, sorry piece of trash, who's out there warmongering with Nancy Kerrigan. What's his name? No, the one that's that gay dude that lives with that other gay dude. Oh man. Anyways, I'll think of his name in a minute. But they all suck. They're just no good, no good. And what else? Is that it? Is that it? That's. Oh, they're talking about using the. Then we'll wrap it up here. This in this video, it talks about how Trump can use the Insurrection Act to quell these crowds. And he's doing, there's still a lot more going on now than it was in 2020. That's a good thing. Trump doesn't have to run for president in 2024 so he can do what he wants. Unless they get some kind of big majority in the Democrat Senate and Jasmine Crockett gets her way. But he can use this Insurrection Act. It's in the Constitution. However, the reason why they wanted to do this is because these plans have been in the books for 20 years. This is a 20-year plan. And they knew that there's a lot of scenarios that they play out, and you can bet that they're using some sort of AI they've had for a long time to run out war games. They've had AI for a long time. They've been working on quantum computing for 25 years. I know. I remember it whenever I was watching stuff on Beyond 2000 back when I was like 13 years old on Discovery Channel, and how they were using nitrogen to cool these supercomputers so they can quantum compute things. And this chick was in the military talking about how they were building these super chips that can do multiple tasks at one time. So just to kind of give you an idea of that. But they've been running war game scenarios on programmable devices for a long time, and you can bet that they understood the future a little bit. And so what they've done is when they had the January 6th things, they needed to get the word insurrection out like 50,000 times amongst all the mainstream media channels. That Mockingbird media that was signed into law by Barack Obama in 2012 under the Smith-Mutz Modernization Act, and then delegitimize the fact that Trump can use it. He was an insurrectionist. Trump, even after they tried to impeach him on that. And they ran it through all the legal systems to try to say he was an insurrectionist, and was found that it was not an insurrectionist at all, no, by no means, and that it was all a game played by social media when they turned off all of his, when Trump put out all the posts to try to tell people to go home and do all this stuff. They needed this narrative so that they could label Trump as an insurrectionist, even though he's not an insurrectionist, so that when he tries to use Insurrectionist Act, there's going to be a big media talking point about how hypocritical such and such and such and such is. You stupid Trump supporters, now we're going to take your home. Okay, all right. Now that we went through all that, thank you very much for watching. Have a wonderful day. Take it easy now. I'll talk to you later. Bye.